Um, when we were together last week, I ended that little video by stating that I'd think about an idea I had that might end wars. Now, I know that sounds presumptuous, and I may not have come up with a new idea, but I haven't heard of this particular solution being voiced. Now, let me start out by reiterating that I think that war is no final solution to anything, or we wouldn't continue to engage in that stupidity. I seem to have some illustrious company who agree with me. Voltaire, the brilliant French philosopher, writer, activist, and political idealist, was known to have quipped that killing a man is murder unless you do it to the sound of trumpets. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt stated that war is young men dying and old men talking. And they were talking about war when only hundreds of thousands of men were killed or maimed. A world war now, with the weapons available, could send us back to caves. That's assuming there'd be anybody left to occupy the cave. So how could we stop it? Now, some conditions have to be assumed. Every war I can think of began with one country invading another country. And reasons for the invasions could vary: strategic location, mineral deposits, living space, religious differences, and various other motives have been the cause for one country forcefully entering another. An almost unfailing typical characteristic of an invasion is that usually the attack is expected. Even the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor was expected. We just didn't know when or where. Now, let's think about this. There are, by last count, 195 countries in our world. Some are as tiny as a couple of thousand citizens, making them virtually indefensible. There are relatively few large enough to field their own army, so they're the potential troublemakers. The smaller and weaker countries constantly live under a shadow. So long as they don't possess a rare commodity or occupy a strategic position, they'll usually be left alone. But let that condition change. Now, suppose an organization is formed by all 195 countries, with each having one vote, no matter how small or how large. Each has one vote. And that organization has one function: to hire another organization. This second organization also has one function. If a country invades another, this second organization, which would be a SEAL-like commando group's function, is to kill the invading country's top 3, 5, pick a number, leaders, by whatever means and as soon as possible after the invasion. No capture, negotiation, question, or mercy, and no statute of limitations. The minute the invasion takes place, the invading country's leaders become dead men walking, or lifelong fugitives, and hopefully their families will not be caught in a crossfire, but there's no guarantee. I just heard some sharp intakes of breath out there among you all. Assassination. We don't do that. Well, tell that to Osama bin Laden, who's feeding the fish at in the Arabian Sea. Actually, according to a man named Nathan Canistero, who was with the CIA and wrote an article for the Boston College Law School publication, actually, no standing federal law criminalizes the assassination of a foreign official outside the boundaries of the United States. In the absence of such a statute, only Executive Order 12333 prohibits the act of state-sponsored killing. Now, this order, which was drafted in the mid-1970s in the wake of revelations of government involvement in plots to kill several foreign leaders, has been maintained by every administration since President Ford. In recent years, however, there have been several attempts by Congress to override Executive Order 12333. The most recent of these initiatives is H.R. 19, the Terrorist Elimination Act of 2001, proposed in January of 2001 by Representative Barr of Georgia. Now, each country's laws or orders aren't important anyway in the suggestion offered here, since the operation would be sanctioned by the 195 country organization rules. And the flaccid United Nations probably would condemn in the strongest terms any assassination. Their usual expletive deleted. Look, I don't mean to make light of such an action. Killing in any form or in any number is reprehensible, but I ask you to keep in mind the reason for the suggestion offered here. No invasion would take place unless the leaders would offer their lives for its accomplishment. There'd most likely be more negotiation offered than bullets flying, and the precious young men and women would be allowed to live out productive and accomplishing lives rather than fall to the sound of trumpets. If I were a betting man, and I am, I'd bet fewer or no invasions would take place as a result, and fewer or no wars would ensue. Now, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of what-ifs and screaming objections generated by this suggestion, and many of them will be legitimate. But each of them should offer a better suggestion, and I would be delighted to hear them. I'm Jim Ritchie, and I'll see you again next time.